guys already know this is the main one tapping in all the way from H-Town, Houston, Texas. I'm here with my boy T.A.G.
T.A.G.
T.A.G sucks.
T.A.G, very nice, very evil.
T.A.G's not cute.
That's T.A.G shit.
Whose house? T.A.G's house, baby.
The only thing we're gonna do is take over, baby.
Oh, it's true. It's damn true.
Free fall as I die through the kaleidoscope in my mind. No rope up to climb. Gotta remind myself that I'm fine. Mama, I don't really.
What up, T.A.G Nation? It's your soon-to-be favorite members of the IWC here with this review, this hot tag, as we call a WWE's Night of Champions. You got myself, the disembodied voice of ScooterRay. You got Lip Dizzle to the top. Pause. You got Jaeger Bombastic. you got Jaeger Bombastic, aka the heartthrob of this, and then you got the youngest in charge, Leo, aka Kicking It with Leo. And yeah, Night of Champions. It was one of the annual Saudi shows. It was to crown a king of the ring. It was to crown a queen of the ring. We had a United States title match. We had a women's United States title match. And we had the undisputed WWE title match all in one show. And let's kick it off with the first match, because the first two matches were on ESPN. And the opening contest, Oba Femi taking on the Yeet Man himself, Jey Uso. I'm not gonna lie to y'all, gentlemen, just straight up, this match could not have went any better than what this match had went. Any better.
Yeah, we really needed that Oba versus Javon Evans. They got more chemistry, and it would have worked really better.
And you know what? To speak on that chemistry point, that was where they messed up at, because since they had Jey Uso involved in all of this other shit, we've only just had that one interaction they had on Raw, and that was it.
Yeah,
that and then SmackDown, if you consider that or whatever. But yeah.
But I'm glad it went the way it went. Yeah, we had some super kicks. Yeah, we had some spears. Yeah, we had some splashes. But ultimately, Oba hit that man with a fall from grace. 1, 2, 3. And your king of the ring of 2026, Oba Femi. Now, I will say this. In recent memory of King of the Ring, he is literally the most king of the ring of king of the rings. Like,
yeah, he kind of fits like what it. I mean, he kind of fits, to be fair.
Whoa.
To go from a ruler to a king, and that's kind of what he said there, for sure. But I mean, I'm not mad at them winning. I'm glad it's not Jey Uso. That's for sure. Because that, I feel like all people went for that because people wanted to be in an uproar for it. But I'm glad we didn't do that. The match was weak.
I mean, I wouldn't say it was weak. It was what I expected. Because I mean, this match was going to play out. Because so funny enough, right? Dizzle, I made 2 different match cards. I went ahead and went with the one with Oba, and the other match card was Brock interfering, Jey Uso winning. So this match was going to work out in 2 different ways. I only went with the Oba one because I was like, fuck it, I'm going for it. So with that being said, are we surprised that we didn't get a Brock Lesnar interference with this?
No.
Yes. I'm surprised because only reason why I say that is because we were teasing it so much going into this show. Probably since like Clash in Italy, every chance we got promo talking on the mic, he kept bringing up Brock Lesnar's name time and time again. And we know how Brock Lesnar operates. When you continue to mention his name so many times, he's gonna get you. And I honestly felt that going into this match, he was going to probably cause him, especially if it's inside. I feel like everything was kind of aligning up to be that. And then maybe if you really wanted to, I would have still had Oba win. And what you could have had happen is Brock shows up, and he tries to interfere, but it backfires and Oba still wins. Therefore, you still can set up Oba winning the King of the Ring and go after the World Championship, but you also can have that gap feud going into SummerSlam, because I think SummerSlam's like 5 weeks from now. So you could have had two feuds going on at the same time. But I get maybe they want to kind of focus on having Oba having one feud. But I can also see Brock probably showing up on maybe a Raw or a SmackDown, something between now and SummerSlam to set up this feud and continue this feud. Because we do have Saturday Night Main Event the week before SummerSlam at Madison Square Garden. If you really want to be honest, maybe that match happens there, especially if you're trying to build up that card to be almost like a WrestleMania-esque type card and feel. I could see that happening there.
Okay, so I'm gonna put a pin.
Oh, go ahead.
I'm gonna let you say, but I'm gonna put a pin in Oba winning, and I'm gonna ask a question once we get to the main event. But what you got, Jaeger?
Yeah, I'm in the same camp of being surprised that Brock didn't show up, but I'm happily surprised. Like, I had it written up in my head that, yeah, it was going to be some classic fuck shit because, like Leo said, it was teased so heavily. But I'm glad that they're going with the angle of building Oba to be an undeniable force, especially with winning this King of the Ring. And I guess in 5 weeks, they're going to have to cram in a story between Oba and Brock for the rubber match. But yeah, I think I like that direction a little bit better than, actually, no. Actually, I like that more, making Oba the undeniable force, than having him just being on like a rampage warpath, or revenge warpath, I should say.
Dizzle, last words before we get to the next match.
Yeah, I wasn't surprised. Once Evans lost, I realized that's where they were going, because the only reason that Brock would have made sense as far as interfering was for Javon Evans to get the win. Jay can easily take an L on this one, and it feeds into the bloodline story. Oba being King of the Ring is something that gives him an accolade before he inevitably loses to Roman, because I don't think he's going to go in and dominate on Roman at this moment yet. I do believe that is probably where you get Brock to come in, is when he goes up against Roman.
You got a good point. Yeah, that's a good point. But
so
Jey Uso.
Yeah, so at this point, all it's going to do is it's going to continue to raise Oba's stock, and then it's going to be able to kick the can down the road for Brock versus Oba. Now, I don't know when they plan on doing that. SummerSlam would have been the perfect time to do it. The only other route at this point, if they don't want to get it out the way and they want to build to it, which is weird, because the only other thing they can do is wait till Mania, unless they have another big show in Saudi Arabia to make it happen. So I don't know, but yeah, they're going to actually build this retirement for Brock against Oba.
Yeah, because there's no more other matches or like pay-per-views this year as far as Saudi, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe Crown Jewel, but I don't see it. But it also makes a lot of sense to have Jey lose, and now it's going to be very interesting come Monday, because think about it, Roman's going to be there. It's announced Roman will be there. How will Roman Reigns respond to Jey Uso losing? And I also think this can kind of play into the story that they're already telling, where it looks like Roman is starting to favor Jacob Fatu a lot heavily as of late. And now he might do that a lot more, because now he might start to see Jey as like how he used to be. He used to talk down to Jey a lot of times, and he might do the same thing come Monday, and we can start telling that story where Jey might not be in the good graces of Roman Reigns for a while.
So rinse and repeat.
Pretty much.
So we'll see come Monday. But once again, big congratulations to King Oba Femi. And to bring it back in the day, because he's not in NXT no more, as Booker T would say, no bread, no water, just me. Your next match to determine Queen of the Ring, you have Women's World Champion Liv Morgan defending, going against Io Sky to determine who was going to be the Queen of the Ring. Now, I hated that they waited to the pre-show to pretty much have in an interview Liv Morgan say, I only entered this because it seemed like all the women are scared of me. So since I had no competition, now this is why I'm in the Queen of the Ring.
I see, man.
You are voicing your displeasure. What you got, Dizzle? What you got?
I'm about to. Oh, bro.
This is again. That's why I said they should have built the story up fucking better if they would have just had Liv be Liv in this, because she doesn't like she can be her into this tournament. She doesn't need like to even say that, to be like, oh no, everybody was scared. I don't think that's the case, and I don't think. And why would you want to downplay the rest of the women's division, which is fucking stupid by WWE's part, because they should have had a bunch of women being like, "Hey, I want to shut the title," which they never fucking did since Liv won the fucking title. Like, anyway, just go.
Yeah. All right. So
I have a whole brain about
before the match officially got started, there was a segment where Danhausen was out there talking to the crowd, and Liv Morgan pissed off because Dom and JD paid Danhausen all of this money,
all the human monies,
all the human monies, and she gave Danhausen a good old slap, and he gave her those 3 favorite words: "You are cursed." And Liv was like, I kind of appreciate that Liv was kind of like whatever about it, but we know how these curses go, and we get to this match. Now, the one thing I appreciate this match, you're not gonna necessarily get a bad match out of Io Sky. You're not gonna necessarily get a bad match out of Liv Morgan. The only downside is it's kind of like the criticisms is this woman is the champion. So of course, if she wins, it has no choice but her to go against Rhea Ripley. So it was kind of like, okay, fine, whatever. I like the aspect of Liv working the knee of Io, even working on her ground game, and I can appreciate Corey Graves. It was like, hey, Io may be the genius of the sky, but shoot, we may have to call Morgan the genius of the ground. And I was like, I'm not mad at that. I'm not mad at that. I'm not mad at that. But the final moments saw Io hitting a top rope Spanish fly, moon over moonsault, 1, 2, 3, and your 2026 Queen of the Ring is the genius of the sky.
No shenanigans.
Io Sky.
That's
no
the crazy part about it. And
shenanigans.
I'm thinking we were gonna get shenanigans. A lot of these matches I thought we were gonna get shenanigans.
Definitely.
But here's one thing I will say about this match. First off, the match was really good, honestly. I think these two never put on a bad match. Second off, her getting cursed by Danhausen, I think sets up an even bigger story. Because we see a lot of people change when it comes to the curse of Danhausen, right? I think we are going to be telling the story of the downfall of Liv Morgan as we know it. Because I think she's going to be on the verge of losing everything. I think she loses the Women's World Championship. I think she loses the Judgment Day. I think we are going to see her lose everything, hit rock bottom to where she has nothing, right? And we already did find out that the Women's World Championship will be dying defended. We actually got a story, you guys.
Wait. Hold on. So, as Leo is about to allude to, Io didn't have the crown on for like 2 minutes, and she straight looked at Liv Morgan on that rampway, and she was like, "Hey, Liv, SummerSlam, we doing this." So yes, we have our first advertised match for SummerSlam. Liv Morgan will, as I made the blunder earlier, she will be defending her championship against Io at SummerSlam.
Yeah, and I think, I don't know, I was thinking Io was going to win this and challenge Rhea, but it kind of makes me think maybe Rhea's injuries a little bit different, a little bit, more serious than we may anticipate, and that's probably why they didn't do this, and maybe it's a pivot, I don't know. I do think we're going to get another great match. I honestly think Io might end up winning this. If we're telling the story of Io potentially winning the championship, maybe with this whole Danhausen curse, she gets. Maybe you also got to think, Stephanie Flair has not returned yet. She could show up at SummerSlam and cause Liv this match. You also been telling the story between Judgment Day and Liv and them not being on the same page, them not seeing eye to eye. Roxanne and Raquel can get sick of Liv from now until SummerSlam, and they turn. We could even see, like I said, she gets kicked out of Judgment Day and replaced. Who's to say that Stephanie Von Kara doesn't show up and she's the newest member of the Judgment Day and they kick out Liv and Stephanie replaces her? Now the dynamic in the women's side of things for the Judgment Day is Roxanne, Raquel, and Stephanie. And now Liv is on the outside, and we can kind of go back to what she used to be, I think, in late 2022, early 2023, where she was on this Harley Quinn type character as a babyface, where she was becoming more extreme. We can revert back to that, and now we can build from now up until Survivor Series. Maybe she does go to SmackDown for a little bit, or maybe she goes to NXT and she tries to find herself again after being cursed and losing everything. She becomes friends maybe with Rhea Ripley and some of the other top names, and this can probably lead to like a War Games match. You could do a plethora of different options here, but I think the domino effect starts at SummerSlam with her losing everything, and then you go from there.
So to be fair, I know we have 5 weeks until this match officially now. I would rather, just like how this match stayed between Liv and Io, I would rather there's SummerSlam. Now, I don't mind the whole Judgment Day turmoil or whatever happening, but the less cooks in the kitchen, the better. Because they just showed in this match they don't need interference. They didn't need Roxy or Raquel to show up. They didn't need all of these things. So I feel that they should just let them cook. But now we know bigger things are at stake because, you know, Liv's championship is on the line. So, and I feel if you're going to do that moment, I feel you should do that moment kind of like the Raw after SummerSlam. You know, Judgment Day be like, hey, Liv, excommunicado. But I say just let these
or
two
even like
But
right
also,
after the
SummerSlam's
match.
known for Judgment Day turning. That's why I said
or even after the match, like you just said. Yeah.
So you could do something along the lines of that, and then you kind of can be off to the races with it. But it's just that whole curse thing. After seeing that, I was thinking if Liv was facing Io here, she's gonna get a win back, clear as day, move on. But it ain't as clear as day as you think, because with that curse above her head, and she's kind of acting as if it doesn't matter. Oh, she's gonna feel it. She's gonna feel the wrath of Deadhouse, especially after you slapped him. It's GG's.
No, this is their only way to get Judgment Day disbanded. Have Danhausen curse the entire Judgment Day, have them disband, and everybody go their separate ways, and then we got to worry about Judgment Day anymore.
Pretty much.
Yeah. And as far as the whole Rhea thing, I believe they're saving that Io and Rhea thing for Mania next year. Now it depends on who's going to be champion. I don't know if it's either going to be Io being champ and then Rhea goes after Io, or Io doesn't make it past Liv and she ends up making her way to Rhea if Rhea does hold. But I don't see Rhea holding that SmackDown championship for that long now. So I think it's better for Io to have that championship and Rhea challenge Io for Mania.
Yeah. But once again, big congratulations to the genius of the sky. Sorry, the queen of the sky. The queen of the sky, Io Sky. And like I said, she's already, hey, Liv Morgan, I want that belt. Now, the official start of the show as it quote unquote moves to the ESPN app. Seth Rollins, Braun Breaker, cage match. Now, the one match where I thought DIC shenanigans was gonna happen, nope. It stayed one-on-one. I will say this. As long as this man stays healthy and as long as they don't really put him in shit storylines, Braun Breaker really is gonna be something special.
Oh yeah.
And for those who didn't watch NXT or things like that, when they relaunched NXT in 2.0 and Braun Breaker just magically showed up and he was all in the main events and everything, it was like, whoops, is this dude?
Mm-hmm.
And then as months passed, it was like, hey, this dude kind of legit. And to this day, I don't care what anybody says. If you was not there for the Braun Breaker, Baron Corbin tag team when they was the Wolf
I
Dogs,
missed out.
that was the best version of Braun Breaker we have seen so far. When him and Corbin was the Wolf Dogs.
That was
Because the chemistry those two men had as a team, amazing.
Agreed.
Amazing. But cage match to officially settle the score between these two gentlemen. And I could appreciate the level of violence. I could appreciate the level of everything, because I love the way Seth Rollins was like, hey, I'm gonna go ahead and start throwing this shit in before this match even starts. I'm throwing in the chairs, I'm throwing in the table, I'm throwing in all this shit. We're gonna just go ahead and do the damn thing. But I'll let one of y'all take it from here.
No, I like it. I do like to see when you just get to business, for lack of a better term. And Seth Rollins is showing that he was a more serious version of himself in this, instead of in recent memory he's been the more flamboyant, the more theatrical, but he was like, no, we're here to do something,
right?
I thought this match was honestly good to be between both of these guys. I think both guys brought their A game tonight. I think Seth proves time and time again why he's one of the absolute best that WWE has, right? And I was looking at this match going a plethora of different ways. I was thinking maybe Bronson Reed would have returned, or maybe Maxine Dupree would have came in and potentially joined the Vision, and that would have protected Seth Rollins in a loss. But at the same time, I'm kind of at the point where it's like, I'm kind of over the storyline. I want to see what these two can do in different storylines. I don't know where Braun Breaker goes, because I really thought he was going to win this match, and this would have propelled him to the next level with him getting the win over Seth Rollins. But I also think they're playing the seeds, because we talked about it, I think, in a recent podcast episode. I think they're saying Seth Rollins to go after that World Heavyweight Championship, which is currently held by Roman Reigns. And I think if you're trying to get him in a position to where he looks credible once again, he had to win this match. But at the same time, I know a lot of people would have said Braun Breaker should have won this match, which I honestly agree, because he it feels like since he's joined the Vision, he hasn't really had that defining win since joining the Vision. I feel like since he's joined the Vision, his momentum has kind of died down a little bit. His aura kind of has died down a little bit as well. And I thought this would have been a great way to reestablish him and get him back on track. But overall, I'm not mad at the decision. And I will say this match was absolutely entertaining.
And boy, Braun Breaker loved taking some gnarly ass cuts somewhere. Yeah. Like, he loved to get a gnarly cut somewhere, and then like I kept looking at the replay, and the only thing I could think of, I guess, when the table folded, it must have caught him under the eye, because I was like, sheesh.
Yeah, I was trying to see it too, because I definitely that's the conclusion I came to too. I definitely thought that it was going to be a situation where the Vision interfered, whether again it'd be Maxine or Bronson Reed. I was really banking on Bronson Reed coming back, but this is the better of two evils in the situation, because at least I would hope that this ends the feud, which it may not, but I would hope that this does end the feud between Rollins and the Vision, and that's it, and they can go off to do other shit. But at the same time, I also don't know what would be the next course of action for the two, unless like they do a clean slate with the Vision and have them just start recruiting new members and then having them do other shit versus going after Rollins over and over again. But I believe that this come Monday, Rollins might get on the mic and say, hey, I'm past the Vision. It's time for me to go after what I'm looking for, the world title. And then bam, now we got that. So yeah.
All right. Well, hey, in the closing moments, Seth Rollins, it was a great little moment of, after Braun kicked out of the stomp, Seth Rollins got up on the apron and Braun got up and he, did the breaking sign and Rollins was like, "All right, bet." Then he hit the super stomp and 1, 2, 3. Now, I'm only going to ask this question in the guise of, since it was in a cage match, which rules do y'all prefer better in a cage match? Escaping the cage, pinfall, submission, a combination? Which rule? Because I've always preferred the escaping the cage more than you can pin or submit. I've always loved the climbing up and out, not going out the front door or anything, but
Well, I mean, look, me growing up in the early 2000s, and I've seen a lot of steel cage matches. A lot of them ended, whether it was title change or ending feuds, or whatever the case may be, it ended in the escaping of the cage, right? So I grew up with that. But at the same time, I never really felt that, I don't know, it just kind of diminished the overall mystique of a steel cage. It should be brutal. It should be fighting to the nail, fighting with everything, blood, sweat, and tears. It should be about all of that, right? It should be strictly about pinfalls, submissions, right? I'm not a fan of the escaping the cage. I never have been. I probably never will be. I'm not a fan of it.
Well, once again, growing up in the 90s, it was always escape. It was always escape. First feet to hit the floor. And I've always enjoyed that aspect. Like, I've always enjoyed the aspect of going up and over, or, because like even in the video games, I got to hurry up and wake your character up and pull the person back in and everything. So I've always preferred escaping the cage rather than pinfall submission. Jaeger, Dizzle?
I'm always going to be on the side of escaping the cage, mainly because it adds more, especially because growing up in between the 90s and into the early 2000s, a lot of the cage matches were, say, I'm just throwing names here, but say Shane O'Mac versus Kane, or some kind of monster force, where you had to where you look at the matchup and you're like, shit, for one of them, not for both, but for just for one of them, you gotta survive this, and you gotta make it out of here. And I love to root for the underdog in that. Yeah, I know he feels the way too, apparently. But yeah, I love to root for the underdog in that, and be like, damn, come on, you gotta get out of there. You gotta get out of there. You gotta overcome this monster, and just hope that you can get out of there. Now, as it evolved, that was cool, bringing in the weapons, sliding, getting out through the door, but not necessarily winning. There has to be a way. There has to be a decided win. I do like that and how it's evolved, but it's more for it becomes more of a spot fest that way. I just like the survivability aspect of it more.
Mr. Deasley?
It's a case by case, because of course, traditionally the actual steel cage match was meant as a method to keep any outside interference out of the ring. Think about Mankind versus Triple H at Mania, with the trying to keep China out, and it made sense as far as an escape, especially in those instances. But at the same time, you think about feuds where, again, you're still trying to keep everybody out, but you want to keep the match inside. That's where a pinfall submission, I do appreciate the addition of that. But at the same time, you think about, again, steel cage match, and then you think about the Hell in a Cell match being implemented, and how that was meant to be the more brutal aspect of it, where you get pinfall submission and then everything else included into it. Now with the steel cages of today, they basically do the same thing as a Hell in a Cell, just on a much smaller scale. And that's where I think that in some cases a steel cage match is beneficial for TV, that way you don't have to worry about having the big ass fucking Hell in a Cell, and then you can still kind of get the same benefits. But Yeah, I think it has its moments. I think this probably would have benefited from being a Hell in a Cell match if you were going to go that way. But at the same time, I understand WWE not wanting to overuse the Hell in a Cell match. So this is the again lesser of two evils in the situation. So yeah, I'm an advocate for both.
Okay. All right. Well, once again, congrats to Seth, and we'll see what happens with the vision going forward. And this next match went exactly how I thought it was gonna go. Damn near. Trick Williams defended his United States Championship against Dick Satanis, aka Ricky Saints. Now the only thing that changed,
about this one.
the only thing that changed was I appreciate Ricky pulling the Eddie Guerrero spot with the whole, getting rid of Little Yachty, Little Boat. That's the only thing that I really appreciate. But I appreciate, like I mentioned before, this was technically a heel versus heel. I know Trick Willie gets cheered, but this is technically a heel versus heel match. But I love how you have the flashy heel versus the pretty boy heel, and it's going off of that chemistry. And shout outs to Corey Graves. Shout outs to Corey Graves by letting them know that, hey, in NXT and everything, Trick ain't never beat Ricky, y'all. You know what I'm saying? And anytime Ricky ever get a title shot, he wins it. Thank you, Corey Graves, for reminding people that these people come from somewhere. Mm-hmm. They don't just magically show up on the main roster. So thank you, Graves. See, that's why you're also appreciated in AAA as well, because you actually dig in history. So thank you, Graves.
We're trying to keep his job. You know what he's trying to do.
Oh, hell yeah. Graves is doing what he needs to keep his job. You are right.
With this match, I'll say this. I'm not going to gush about Trick Williams on this one. I mean, we already know what it is. This match is what Dick Satanis needed the most, because I look back at the match that he had on his debut at SmackDown against Cody Rhodes, and that was not a good showing for him. This match, though, showed me everything that I needed to see as far as his future on the main roster. And it shows me that he is starting to get his footing, and he's starting to get comfortable to where I can absolutely see the path for him ahead versus that first showing where I'm like, I don't know what they're going to do with him. But right now I can view him the same way that I view an Ethan Page at this point, to be like, yeah, I can see how they're going to utilize him and where he and how far he's going to go on the main roster. So yeah, this was an absolutely perfect match for and I'll go ahead and say his actual name, Ricky Saints, for his showcase. But good big ups to Dick Satanis, even in him losing. So
I thought this was a good showing for Ricky. I mean, Luke Dizzle said it already. I mean, he had a great show. I think this match really showcased how good Ricky Saints can really be if given the proper push and creative and the proper opponent behind him. And I don't even think this feud is over. I think you can continue this feud going into SummerSlam, and you could probably add Carmelo Hayes in the mix if you really wanted to as well, and you could do a triple threat at SummerSlam, and then maybe there we can get a title change, maybe if it's Carmelo Hayes, or even maybe Ricky Saints gets the U.S. Championship and letting him have a run with the title, because I think he could do some amazing work with the championship as well and everything like that. So we'll have to see how the story does continue, but I think overall this was a solid match between these two guys.
Oh yeah, matter of fact, you said it. Then that's what it needs to be. I think it needs to be those three, Mello, Saints, and Willie.
Hey, you forgetting the other black man who's probably gonna be mixed up in this.
Which one?
The other Willie, Will Hobbs, aka.
Well,
Royce
I think he
Keys
might join up with Solo
So,
based off what's been happening.
No, I can see in 5 weeks. I can see Royce Keys being in the mix of this in 5 weeks.
I do like the aspect of it, but I don't know if they want that much black on black crime on SmackDown.
I mean, look, they gave us all that Samoan on Samoan and all that Mexican on Mexican.
Well,
at least they can give us black on black at this point.
And if I'm not mistaken, did they just have R-Truth and Damian go up to Viking Raiders and say, hey, we want those AAA tag team titles. What's going to do? Winner take all? So we're about to have black champions everywhere. We about to have black champions everywhere. You got Will Hobbs probably going after the U.S. Championship. He already got Trick Williams. Then you have none other than Jade Cargill in the mix for the world title on her side of things. And then, well, I don't know if you have anybody that's black that's going to be a main event enough to go after Sammy, but I don't know. But we got too much.
Spoiler alert! Spoiler alert!
It ain't.
But yeah,
we are. I mean, we definitely gonna talk about that because that's.
But yeah, trick shot for the dub, and then Lil Boat gets his measure of revenge by beating up on Ricky, and then he hits his people's elbow. Or yeah, Lil Boat. That's his alternate nickname, Lil Boat. I think what Michael Cole called it the people's elbow, and I wanted to say Corey Graves wanted to call it. I forgot what Graves wanted to call it. But yeah, next match for the WWE Women's United States Championship. Tiffy Stratton defending against the leader of the baddie, the head baddie in charge, Jade Cargill. Hey, I'm gonna go ahead and say this right now. Any man who can look at Jade Cargill and can't acknowledge her beauty, you either blind or racist.
What the fuck?
I said what I said.
I was gonna say something else, but this is a PG.
Damn.
You either blind or racist. If you can objectively look at Jade Cargill and be like, she ugly, you either blind or racist. I'm just put it like that. Blind or racist.
I mean, play devil's advocate. For me,
devil's advocate.
No. There is. There is. So for me, what got me in my attraction for Jade was when I watched her in certain interviews, because there's a certain level of femininity that she shows where I'm like,
yes,
oh, God damn. And so that translates over to what I see when I see her on TV now. And I'm like, yep, there it is. There it is.
I think my attraction started first glance when I seen her in AEW. When I seen her in Cody Rhodes, I was like, who is this? I said, who is this Melanie Queen?
That.
That's like, oh my God. And the way and her physique is like, sheesh.
Muscle.
I didn't know who had a better physique, her or Bianca at that point, because both had outstanding physique. I'm gonna tell you this: if you're a man and you have a girl like that in your life, or a woman like that in your life that has that physique, keep them around because they might come in handy.
And you know they ain't cheating on her.
No, not. She looked like she bench pressing people. She looked like she would bench press you, impress you, literally, both physically and mentally, if you get her on her bad side.
Mm-hmm. She does that thing where she picks you up like, yeah, you gonna listen here.
But as we gloat about Jade, the match here, this was a paint by numbers of a match they had. I mean, they have decent chemistry with each other, so I can see why, it was ran back for Night of Champions. And it's funny because this was the match that literally all the distractions, interference, and confusion went down in. they chose to save it all for this match because the baddies interfered. Chelsea came, helped out. Charlotte came and helped out. So that's gonna be your SummerSlam match. We finally gonna get the Queen in the Storm at SummerSlam, and I feel like these two ladies are going to probably give us. I hope they give us one of the best matches of the year between the Queen and the Storm.
Yeah, because I do think, despite the match being was okay for what it was, I do like the fact that they didn't forget about the storyline between Charlotte, at least in the grand scheme of things, because we remember Jade cost it none other than Charlotte her opportunity to win the Queen of the Ring match, and Charlotte came out here and cost her winning the Women's United States Championship. And I do think this story will continue between both of these women going into SummerSlam. Now, I don't know if it's going to be a one-on-one match between those two, and maybe you can have a caveat where whoever wins becomes a number one contender for the Women's Championship, maybe coming out of SummerSlam. Maybe you could do that. But I also think something's telling me they could be in the mix for either the US or the WWE Women's Championship, respectively, as well. Because based off everything that kind of played out here tonight and everything, I could see a situation where maybe we have Jade and Charlotte and Tiffany in a triple threat for the Women's United States Championship, and maybe you could add someone like a Chelsea Green in there as well. And also, if you don't want to do that, maybe add a triple threat for the Women's Championship with Rhea, Charlotte, and Jade, because both of those scenarios have some type of tie-in, because all three of those women have been kind of in the mix with each other for like the last few weeks and months. It really just is predicated on the injury and update for none other than Rhea Ripley, and if she's able to compete at none other than SummerSlam. And if she's not able to SummerSlam, I don't want to be the bearer of bad news, but maybe you have to have her relinquish the title, and then maybe you have the match between Charlotte and Jade at SummerSlam, and the winner becomes the new WWE Women's Champion.
So I'm pretty sure Dizzle may agree, because I know he's always had his criticisms with Charlotte, but I think personally this match needs to stay between Charlotte and Jade, because that's been teased since Jade came into the company. Let alone, I feel that this should be the vehicle to where if you want to go ahead and put Charlotte back in the main event picture, this is the way to do it. Not necessarily saying Charlotte's going to come out on top or anything like that, but I feel that if you want to put Charlotte back in the main title picture, this will be the best way to do it. But I do think that this match needs to stay one-on-one. No triple threat, nothing. This needs to stay one-on-one. The next 5 weeks, build this shit up to where the Queen in the Storm is going to be like, all right, we may have us one here. We may have us one here. But ultimately, due to Charlotte's interference, Tiffany does hit the PME 1, 2, 3. She remains your Women's United States Champion. So, and of course, come SmackDown, we will see the fallout. And let's go ahead and get to our main event of the evening. We have for the WWE, well, the undisputed WWE Championship, Cody Raheem Rose defending against Gunther and Sami Zayn. Brother, that pretty much brother. That is one way to put it, brother.
I'm gonna tell you this right now. Not only do I have some thoughts on this match, but I also am probably going to not probably upset some people, but I might upset a few people. I don't care. First off, this match was really good. I actually thought this match was very entertaining from start to finish. Second off, they kind of spoiled that Sami was probably going to win this match, because if you remember when he came out during his entrance, they had something that was part of his banner, and this was his 10th opportunity at a world championship and competing for a world championship, and he's never been a world champion in his career. And when I seen that, I'm like, oh shoot, they might actually have him win. But at the same time, I really didn't know. I was on the edge of my seat the entire match, because I was thinking at some points maybe Cody was going to retain. I thought moments in the match where I thought Gunther probably was going to win, and there were moments where I thought Sami was going to win. So they made a case for everybody in this match, but ultimately, the shock of probably the year, probably so far, or at least in the consideration, Sami Zayn is the WWE champion. I did not think that was going to happen at all.
All right,
but
so shout outs to Dizzle for picking that, and I'm gonna let him get his bars off about Sami Zayn winning, because you know he did predict that in our contest. This is my issue I have with Sami Zayn winning the championship. I have appreciated Sami Zayn ever since I tuned into NXT. I appreciate all the Sami Zayn's iterations up until this recently. If he was not such a whiny bitch going into this match, because I was listening to this while I was driving, and I probably would have damn near had to pull over to celebrate. But Jesus, Sami was such a whiny bitch the whole time. Oh, I'm the last real good guy and all of this, and my rider, that shit the fuck up. Like, Jesus. If it wasn't for all of that, I would be okay with Sammy winning the championship. But since he had to be that character to win the title, fuck all of that.
Not even
This is where you
that.
can go.
And here's the thing with Sammy though, and this gonna upset some people. And I even mentioned it. Those who might agree, people in the podcast with me might agree. Seeing Sammy was a great visual. But if Sammy can win the world championship in 2026, I don't want to hear from anybody else. There's no excuse why Finn Balor can't win this championship now. Don't
let that go. Let that go.
People didn't think Sammy was about to win the WWE championship. People didn't think he was about to win the world championship. I've been heard for so many people for years that I said he was not going to be a world champion. And guess what? He's a world champion in 2026. This is the time to make Finn Balor a future world champion in 2026. Campaign, we begin.
Dizzle, what you got?
This was the easiest match to predict out of all of them. For me, 100%. There was no doubt in my mind, and I'll tell you why. And I absolutely disagree with you on your take, Scoot.
That's fine.
This was the best way for them to go with Sammy, because you didn't turn him outright heel. That was the first indicator of how I knew this was going to happen this way, because the moment that he did the whole I'm gonna be, because you see a lot of people, because I mean Shawn Michaels is probably the only person that did this same thing correctly, because you hear a lot of heels that'll be like, you hear a lot of faces that turn heel where they're like, oh, I'm only here for the people that's there for me. And nobody necessarily does it because they end up going full heel. When Shawn Michaels did it back in the 90s, he did the whole thing with, hey, I'm only going to high five anybody that has the black glove on. And he did that. And so when that was going on, I immediately thought about that when Sammy did it, because then he started dialing into it with the whole shirt thing, the last real good guy. I'm like, oh, okay, I see now. And so everything that he did made sense. So him being a special guest referee, him talking to Cody, him talking about any other person that doesn't like agree with what he's trying to do or wants to give him a chance, justified. So once they put him in this match for Saudi Arabia, I'm like, there's no fucking way that you're going to have him with the character that he has now, him being essentially a tweener, and him going into Saudi Arabia as the face. Absolutely no fucking way you're going to miss out on that opportunity in actually putting the title on him in this moment, in a triple threat that absolutely gives him a chance to actually win without having to necessarily pin the champion, even though, but yeah, this was the easiest pick on the whole thing. And it makes the most sense, because even in this situation, he get his big win, right? He doesn't necessarily have to hold the title for that long. Now, would I like him to? Essentially maybe like a few months at the least, but at this point, yeah, this absolutely makes the most sense, because Randy should have won that title. But if you're not going to have Randy win that title, for Cody holding this title this long, it makes sense to take the title off of him and put it on Sammy. So,
hey, I'm gonna jump in right quick.
Go ahead. I was done. I was done.
Over. You know what to do. You have an easy target in Sami Zayn, big dog. That's all I'm saying.
Well,
easy target. Easy dub. Easy dub.
The only
Big
thing I'll
over.
say is
Easy dub.
we do have Saturday night main event coming up. Something is telling me in the back of my head, I just know how WWE can do some stuff, some crazy things.
Oh my God.
If Sami Zayn loses the title back to Cody at Saturday night main event the week before SummerSlam, and at that point, we already think going into we're going to have probably Obafemi and none other than Sammy. No, we pivot to Obafemi and Cody Rhodes for the WWE Championship, and maybe you can have Sami Zayn is in the mix as well, and you do a triple threat match, maybe, because something's telling me if we have Oba go against Roman, something's telling me he's not going to win that match. because I just feel like with everything that's happening with the Bloodline storyline and the fact that we might be seeing a Zilla Fatu show up and everything like that, and they're trying to build up this new version of the Bloodline, I can see Roman Reigns keeping that world championship around him, which is why I think they end up doing Roman set at SummerSlam. And on the other side of the coin, you have Obafemi going after the WWE Championship and him winning that title compared to the World Heavyweight Championship. And we could still get this match between Roman and Oba, but it's champion versus champion at none other than Crown Jewel.
No. Since you just said that, the thought did just accelerate in my head. Yeah. Oba comes out and challenges Sammy, especially because Sammy might just try and declare himself a fighting champion. And let's just say Oba fails because of good old Brockington. And that's how you fast forward
flipping
or fast track.
tables.
Huh?
I'm flipping tables.
You're
I didn't mean
flipping
to interrupt
tables.
you. I didn't mean to interrupt you, Sammy, but I'm flipping tables.
And here's another thing.
And then you fast track Brock versus Oba at SummerSlam.
But I also been hearing people talk, and when you talk, and people talking about what we could potentially be seeing with Sammy's run. Some people said maybe he holds this title for a minute, and we get the return of Kevin Owens, and this is the feud that you have for Kevin Owens upon his return. Him and Sammy for the WWE Championship. Would I be upset about that? Absolutely not. Depending on the dynamic they want to tell, I'm all for it. But me, I already know where I stand. I still stand with my campaign. Sami Zayn, Finn Balor, some point in 2026, 2027. I don't care if it's WrestleMania. Book it. Makes Finn Balor your next world champion, especially if you can make this man a new leader of a club.
So Dizzle and Sammy, and then I could even say Leo. So you know how they say back in the day, whenever you used to pop in at PS1 and PS2 games, how you tried to act all nonchalant to get it to work. That's how I feel with this Finn Balor situation.
Excuse me, Finn Balor. Hey. You can have him become a potentially he doesn't even have to go heel. He can be what he was in NXT. Just let him do that, right? And then if you really wanted to, what they've been telling, they might be starting a new version of Bullet Club. You put Tama Tonga with him. He got a little bit of a backup reinforcement if you really wanted to, and then have him go against Sammy. He win the championship, and he actually gets his run. That's all I'm asking. I'm not asking for much WWE. Give him a run. Let him win it.
I will be the first to eat crow if all of this happens, because this is the thing. My love for Finn Balor is top, but I can see when ships have sailed. And the problem is, the way I feel with this Finn Balor ship, they gave that ship a fucking Viking funeral. They done shot all type of fire arrows in that ship.
Yeah, Scoot is essentially acting like he's putting on. Well, I want to say facade. He's purposely and seriously at the same time, not caring because he's hoping for the best.
Yes.
He wants to agree with you, Leo, but
what's in front of me won't let me. What's in front of me won't let me.
You know what you do when something's in front of you? You push it out the way.
Mm-hmm. Just like how they done push Finn Balor out the way.
Damn.
That's just egregious. That's just messed up.
Look. This is how I feel. Dizzle pretty much nailed it on the head. But congratulations, Sami Zayn. Now, not only him winning the championship, he is now in the exclusive Grand Slam Champions Club as well.
He is.
So, yep, he officially became a Grand Slam champion with winning the Undisputed Championship.
And you know what? And I think this is really good. The fact that they're not treating him like he needs to go for the World Heavyweight Championship like it's a lesser title. They're actually letting these guys win the WWE Championship. Mm-hmm. So big ups to WWE for actually making those decisions with this title, because I think that's one of the best things that they have done.
But yeah, so Night of Champions as a whole, I know that Gunther charged up Nick Aldis, so maybe they could finally let Nick Aldis strap up some boots, and maybe Gunther and Nick Aldis can finally go at it. We don't know.
Please let that
Right.
That
Right.
actually would cook.
But before we go, there was a little bit of my bad on you. Before we go, there was a little bit of sad news that did come out about a couple of hours ago. Former TNA wrestler and overall wrestler Joe Doring did pass away from his brain cancer. So we would be remiss to mention Joe Doring. Prayers to all of his family, friends, loved ones, fans, all of the above. I do remember his run with him and Rhino as TNA tag champs. But yeah. So RIP Joe. And with that being said, yes. And with that being said, I'm gonna pass this thing over to Lip Dizzle, and just be on the lookout for when I record NXT.AG, because that's when you're gonna get the Great American Bash review. We got to figure out how we're gonna do the Forbidden Door review. But until then, Lip Dizzle, go ahead and do that thing that you do oh so well. Good sir.
First and foremost, big ups to Sami Zayn for keeping me in the fight. You allowed that deficit to go down just a little bit. But yeah, you already know what it is, y'all. Whether you loved it, hate it, don't forget to rate it, thumbs up, thumbs down. Leave all your comments, questions, concerns down below. Leave all your good lucks and congratulatory messages for everybody that's competing for the Tag Predictions Championships over the course of the weekend. Get ready to leave your congratulations for myself and Leo.
Bro, you're tripping.
He knows.
Oh, you're tripping.
He knows. He's on the right
Oh,
side
you're
of history.
tripping. Okay.
That championship from you this weekend. But you
Oh, you
also
think you're winning?
Finn Balor win the world championship.
Oh, he thinks he's winning. Oh.
Me and Finn Balor will about percent. You're welcome.
But of course,
Crazy that a champ doesn't, wish another champ well. It's wild. That's wild work.
Very wild.
You look. You already know exactly. You already know.
That's not for you. The fuck?
You already know how to prepare those keyboards for late night Sunday, early morning Monday. But make sure that you tag the subscribe button, tag the notification bell, tag that like button, so that way you get notified on any and everything that we drop on a weekly, daily, monthly basis. Make sure you go out and check out Juggs' channel, check out Leo's channel. You already know about their live streams, the shit that they drop, Juggs' retro reviews and all this other good shit. But of course, let me go ahead and warm up the Wolf of the Boys and the people at home for the Too Sweet with a good old bada 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 bada. Bam! And of course, until you see these handsome faces and hear these immaculate voices, we bid you all adieu. And until next time, you beautiful, 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 beautiful mother effers. Tag the fuck it. Click, click. Ow.
Jeez.
Dollars make a way to make a change. Gotta be insane to make those same mistakes again. So I'm switching lane to lane. Pray to